This week we are going to be learning CSS3, and I know a lot of you have been waiting for this. And so you're going to want to read through the pages in the book, and there's a lot more information in the lecture demo because there are still new things being added to CSS3. And we go through quite a bit of new material here. There are some CSS3 commands that we have already learned. So if it is something that we've already learned, like border radius, I'll just put it in as a review just to remind you of what it is. And there's lots and lots of examples with the code that I use to create them, in addition to links to W3 schools where you can practice things live. So as you go through here, I'm sure you are going to find all sorts of CSS styles that you want to try out and use. We've got gradients and all the different ways to apply those to the background. Not only the background of any element, but the background of the page. We've got all of the shadows. Cool little things you can do with text like this, where you hide it until you hover over it. How to use web fonts. How to use filters, and this is super cool. It's newer, but you can actually apply a filter effect to a photo without changing the photo itself. And this was the original, and you can see I did these little filter effects without editing or adjusting the original. And so you can play with them. I actually have sliders down here, and it's showing you, at least in that case, what the grayscale is set to. And then if you want to see the sepia, what that looks like, or mess around with saturation, you can see what those different values are. And you can actually add a little drop shadow here. So you can kind of play with this. And these are not meant to be add-ons. So you'll notice when I did the invert, it got rid of the drop shadow. So it's just kind of showing you down here what that particular setting is. So you can play around with that and get a feel for how those filters work. And then we get into 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional transformations. And again, you know, when possible, I am trying to add little interactive things for you guys to play with and give you a feel for, you know, what those settings are and then what they do to the object. Once you finish the lecture demo, you're going to go into the textbook assignments where you're actually going to be applying CSS3 to some of the different files. And there's several files you're going to be downloading. And then you'll be using that famous quote page in some of these different tasks. The first one, you're going to do a little quote box that's going to display. And I did try to highlight different CSS that you're going to be adding. And you're going to animate the page. And because you're adding different pieces of the CSS, I did think it would be useful for you to maybe see what all of it looked like together. So this is showing you the whole thing. So you can kind of compare what you have to make sure you did it correctly. The 3D cube, you are actually going to be creating a cube that looks just like this. And I have included the code that you need to add here. Some people find it more useful to have a separate PDF file. So I also included the PDF here. So you can print this out if you want, or just kind of look at it embedded in the page. You'll be doing a ball, and we are actually using a gradient for the ball, and you're going to make it bounce. So this is the code that you need for that. And the song snippet file that you worked on in a previous assignment, you are going to be doing some animated effects to that as well. And at the bottom is a summary of what you need to turn in. Then for the lab assignment, you are going to add some animation to your existing pages. And so I've added animation to Flexbox and my form. You are going to be adding animation to your Flexbox page and your form. So these little videos kind of walk through how I added the animation. And this is the animation that I put in. Okay, and so if you want to see it kind of animate, you can see what it does. And same with the Flexbox. And so this is just set up to rock. You know, and if you want to change the animation a little bit, if you want it to do something a little different, that's okay too. Totally up to you. But you do need to have the Flexbox model and your form animated. Then you're going to download this file. And you're going to adjust the CSS for the background pictures and for the boxes. The container with the pictures, you're going to make resizable. And then the pictures with the paragraphs, you are also going to make resizable. And that is what the directions are telling you to do. And then the last thing you're going to do is in your own assignment page, you are going to either add some kind of a animation effect or a transition. It's up to you what it is that you want to animate and how you want the animation to occur. Okay, and then you will update your assignment page with links and submit done to the Dropbox. This week is a lot of fun. In the past, students have had a really good time with CSS3. Have fun, and if you run into problems or have questions, let me know.